Welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk, this Thursday edition. Number to call if you want to weigh in on the situation in the Middle East, Iran, Libya, Israel, nuclear threat from Iran, Obama's performance at the UN, Bibi Netanyahu's performance. What do you think about how America ought to be positioned with regard to Israel? 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Two more quick sound bites. Let's wedge in before we go to the phones. Again, from Bibi Netanyahu's address to the United Nations today, which was an outstanding speech. Here's a comment he had to make about the outcome of what terrorists are about. Let's listen.
Yet the medieval forces of radical Islam, whom you just saw storming the American embassies throughout the Middle East, they seek supremacy over all Muslims. They're bent on world conquest. They want to destroy Israel, Europe, America. They want to extinguish freedom. They want to end the modern world. Now, militant Islam has many branches, from the rulers of Iran with their revolutionary guards, to Al-Qaeda terrorists, to the radical cells lurking in every part of the globe. But despite their differences, they are all rooted in the same bitter soil of intolerance. That intolerance is directed first to their fellow Muslims, and then to Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, secular people, anyone who doesn't submit to their unforgiving creed. They want to drag humanity back to an age of unquestioning dogma, unrelenting conflict. I'm sure of one thing. Ultimately, they will fail. Ultimately, light will penetrate the darkness.
So that's consistent with what we read in the Scripture. The light outshines the darkness. The truth is stronger than error. God's ability to bless is greater than Satan's power to curse. And that's what Netanyahu was saying. He's being honest, saying, look, these forces of Muslim fundamentalism want to destroy us. They have no interest in living alongside us. They have no interest in any sort of collaboration or collegial, neighborly kind of relationship. He said, look, they want to destroy us. They want to eliminate us. They want to end the modern world. And then here's what Bibi Netanyahu had to say about President Obama and the United States.
2 days ago from this podium, President Obama reiterated that the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran cannot be contained. I very much appreciate the President's position, as does everyone in my country. We share the goal of stopping Iran's nuclear weapons program. This goal unites the people of Israel. It unites Americans, Democrats and Republicans alike, and it is shared by important leaders throughout the world. What I have said today will help ensure that this common goal is achieved. Israel is in discussions with the United States over this issue, and I am confident that we can chart a path forward together.
So again, as Netanyahu inviting President Obama to work together to find a way to jointly stop Iran. Now, Israel's made it clear, and Bibi Netanyahu making it clear, I think, in this speech, Israel's got to do what it's got to do. And Netanyahu said, look, I've got an obligation, I've got a duty to protect my people. So he's prepared to do whatever he needs to do to protect the interests, the safety, and security of his people, and I applaud him for that. He has every right to do it. He should do it. The only question is whether we are going to stand by our ally, stand with our ally, have their back, support them in what they need to do to protect their own future, indeed their very existence. Well, let's go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Let's begin with Kevin in Carrollton, Texas. Kevin, Carrollton, Texas, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Thank you for taking my call, Brian. I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. I am. I'm not 100% by a long stretch, but I am feeling better. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, number one, Mr. Barack Obama has done nothing for this country, in my opinion. Everyone that's listening to my voice right this minute has got an obligation as a Christian and a believer in Christ. All those born-again believers need to rise up, stand up, and say enough is enough. There's no more joy riding for Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama has to take into account and the media doesn't take him into accountability. No one else is taking him. The Republicans on the other side doesn't take him into accountability. This man does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. And someone's got to say, enough is enough. This man has done nothing but, I mean, really it's borderlining on treason if it's not. I mean, I am so mad at this, at no one on the other side of the Republican Congress saying, hey, you can't just unilaterally say that you're going to sign an executive order to put your people in place where you want them. Such as these, when they were on this recess appointments and all these other things.
Yeah. There's just kind of there's just this outrageous, I think Kevin used the word outrage, and I think it's exactly right, this kind of lawlessness on the part of this president. I mean, I don't want to be hard on him without reason or without cause, and I don't believe I am being hard on him without cause. I'm being hard on him, but that's because he has flouted the Constitution, and he has flouted the law. He's just ignored the law. He set it aside when it's inconvenient to him. And part of what makes a rule of law work, a system of laws like we have with a written Constitution and well-established laws, is that everybody makes a good faith effort to preserve them and keep them and uphold them. And President Obama took an oath in the name of God that he would uphold and defend this Constitution. And it seems almost immediately he set about to shredding this thing into tatters. And Kevin's point is, if the American people see things that way, there is something they can do about it. There's nothing that the American people can do directly between 1 November and a November 4 years later. I mean, they make a decision in 1 November, and then the American people have got to live with that decision for the next 4 years. But every 4 years, the American people get to decide, what kind of leadership do we want? And that's the choice the American people have on November. Do we want 4 more years of the kind of leadership that we have just lived through, or do we want a change of direction for America? Let's go to James in Midway Park, North Carolina. James, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. One thing I do understand, but I heard his excerpts from his little speeches in the UN, and he was praising Islam and everything. Then he had the nerve to say he was a Christian. Now, right out, I've heard it a number of times, but I'm going to tell you folks something. Somehow, he has told those clowns over in Iran that if Israel does attack them, America will not join in.
And what James is saying is a fact that President Obama relayed through diplomatic channels, back channels to Iran. Look, if Israel attacks you, we want you to know we had nothing to do with it. We're not helping them. We don't have their back. Please don't hit us, because we won't have anything to do with that. If Israel does that, they are completely on their own. And Iran came out about a week later, maybe just a matter of days, and said, hey, if we get attacked by Iran, we're coming after the United States. And believe that. So the reality is, if they get attacked by Israel, Iran has said they're coming after us. And you know what I've learned? If a Muslim tells you he's going to kill you, you better believe him. So Ahmadinejad says he's going to come after us. He's going to kill us. I think we better pay attention to that. We better believe him. And he's told us Israel attacks, we're coming after you. So really our only choice is whether we stand with Israel and get attacked for standing with our ally and friend of liberty in the Middle East, and then get attacked, or whether we don't do anything to help them and we still get attacked. I think better to go down firing with our friends and allies. Let's go to Tim in Tupelo, Mississippi. Tim, you're welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. To Benjamin Netanyahu's point about him having to do what he has to do, he's in a very tough spot. And I'm going to come at it from a little bit different angle. I used to be in the Air Force. I dealt with nuclear weapons, so I kind of have a bit of an understanding there. He's getting to the point, he's getting close to the point of no return. And what I mean is, if and when the nation of Israel determines that Iran has a nuclear device. I don't know what the yield may or may not be on that thing, and they may or may not know it. But Israel's in a really tough spot because they don't have the landmass of either the United States or Canada or Russia, where they can sit by and take 1, 2, 3, 4, however many nuclear detonations. They can't afford it. Number two, they don't have the population like the United States, Russia, Canada, other countries, to lose a certain amount of people, even in one nuclear detonation. So, God bless him. He's in a very tough spot because the survivability of his country, his nation, his people is sitting there right in his hand, and he's got to make a decision. You try to put yourself in his shoes and say, which is not fun or comfortable to do, but what would you do? Knowing that somebody who has sworn that they're going to destroy you now has the ability to do just that, maybe with one nuclear detonation.
It's interesting, Tim. One of the things that Netanyahu addressed today is this whole idea is, well, let Iran get a nuclear weapon and then just let them know if you use it, we're going to wipe you off the face of the map. Kind of the mutually assured destruction, MAD concept. It worked with Russia. They knew that if they launched a nuclear attack against us, we would counterstrike and wipe them off the face of the globe. And that mutually assured destruction was enough to keep peace between us and the Soviet Union. But what Netanyahu said, when you're talking to a radical Muslim, a devout Muslim, a Muslim fundamentalist, and you talk to him about mutually assured destruction, that is not a deterrent. It is an inducement. Because remember, they believe that the only guaranteed ticket to paradise is martyrdom for the sake of Allah. So you tell a Muslim, hey, you fire off that nuclear weapon, we'll bomb you back to the Stone Age. He says, bring it. That's what I've been waiting for. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back after the news.
American Family Radio, AFR Talk.